long had I wished to see the day that I would experience the Himalayas. Mountains' mystery and beauty, and majesty and power has always enticed me and intrigued me. Ever since I was a small boy, I was blown away and mystified by the magic of the range. Till one time I managed to land a trip out to the Himalayas to climb Mount Everest. Me and my buddy Vince were on our way out. Caught a flight out to Kathmandu. Made our way to the hotel. There had been whispers going about, stirring, that there had been a whole party of mountain climbers that had disappeared while attempting to reach the summit. Nobody knew what could have possibly happened. There had been no signs of foul play, no signs of an avalanche or a snow fall. Maybe they fell into a crevasse, exclaimed Vince. Maybe. It doesn't make any sense. The weather up there has been clear and peaceful this whole time. There have been no reports of any avalanches or snowfalls, so I don't know. What makes a party of 7 people just disappear into thin air? Then shrugged. The next day we decided to take a nice little guided tour of some of the wilderness area. We climbed into the Range Rover and our tour guide was rather accommodating. All through the lush valleys, jungles, forests, up above the tree line and into the snow. I had kind of jokingly asked the tour guide if there had been any Yeti sightings or anything unusual recently. He nodded and sort of chuckled. There have been 5 sightings I know of in the past year. Not a lot, but a few. I nudged Vince and smiled. Maybe that's your answer right there. He rolled his eyes, shook his head, and laughed. Oh, don't go on with that bullshit. Not now. We're on vacation. I can't handle any more conspiracy lunacy from you. Hey, I'm just pointing it out there. Just putting it out. You never know what's in those mountains. We made our way up. Saw the sunset and went back to our hotel. The next day we woke up nice and early to tour around the city, various Buddhist and Hindu temples. I even ended up meditating in one of them. It's very nice and tranquil, very at ease. Vince and I decided to go on a nice little day hike. It's nice and easy. We even could have sworn we saw a tiger in the distance, but that was just our imaginations, and walked on. Then the next morning is when we made our way to base camp. There were several other tourists in the area that were attempting to climb the summit of Everest, and we made a few friends. There'd still been whispers going around about the missing hiking party that went missing about a week beforehand. They still weren't accounted for, and people were wondering what happened. Geez, I'm wonder what was going on, one of the girls said. This is really unusual. This doesn't usually happen. I shrugged. Who knows, maybe they fell into a crevasse or something, or a cave. Maybe, she replied. We began our ascent. We made it to about 7,000 feet. We decided to turn in for the night. We pitched our tents. It was a long day, and I dozed off. But during the night, I was awoken to something. The sound of crunching outside. It appeared to be coming from a distance, but felt like it sounded like it was getting closer gradually, slowly, calculatingly. I nudged Vance, who was awake as well. I whispered, "Do you hear that?" He nodded silently. The crunching got closer and closer. Until it sounded like whatever was outside was just outside the wall of our tent. Then we began to hear this deep breathing, this deep huffing and puffing like a train. Deep, low, and guttural. Deep Darth Vader breaths right outside of our tent. Just huffing. I started sweating and shaking a little bit. I didn't know what was going on. I whispered to Vince, Is it a Himalayan bear? What's going on? What the hell is that?" He shook his head. "I really don't think that's a bear." "Then what the hell is it?" "I don't know. It has this distinct 1-2 pattern when it walked. I really don't think it's a bear." "Wait, you think it's bipedal? Walking on 2 legs?" "Yeah, I believe so. It had that distinct 1-2. There was no shuffling or any indication of other limbs. I don't know what the hell's going on." We both then laid silently in our tent. The breathing continued. It almost felt like it was getting deeper and more profound, more resonant. Then a deep growl, deep but soft and intense, bassy. "Jesus, Vince, what the hell is that?" I whispered. He shook his head, this time with much more urgency and much more instability. Vince began to breathe very hard, sharply. He began to shake. Then we began to notice that the roof of our tent was starting to slowly and easily contract a little bit, as though something was pressing down on it, slowly. I reached for the flashlight. Vince grabbed my arm, shaking his head. But I couldn't resist. I had to do it. I had to find out what was going on. "All right. Who's ever outside better go now. You better leave now. I'm not fucking around. Go now. Who's ever joking, you better stop now." I flipped on the flashlight and pointed to the roof of the tent. To my horror, was the outline of this enormous hand on the roof of our tent. And another low rumbling growl emanated from outside. And another low rumbling growl. Jesus, Steve, now you've gone and done it, whispered Vince. What the hell is that thing? Yeti, mumbled Vince. The hand was enormous, about 2 to 3 times the size of a human's hand, but in the same shape. Another low rumbling growl emanated. It was almost as though the hand was starting to push down on the tent even more. More and more. Go! Get now! Leave! I yelled. Go now! Another growl. And the hand suddenly disappeared from the roof of the tent. Then footsteps began to trail away from the tent. Slowly, steadily, moving away. Drowned out by the howling wind. I sighed. Vince shook his head. You're fucking crazy, you know that. He gasped, grabbing my arm. You are absolutely fucking crazy. If that damn thing comes back. It won't, I whispered. How the hell do you know that? He whispered back. I don't. But I'll be ready if it does. How long do you think the battery on that flashlight will last? I don't know. A while, I think. Several hours at least. Let's hope so. Do you think you'll be able to sleep tonight for the rest of the night? I don't know. Seemed like an eternity, but finally both of us were able to doze off again. Then now I was awoken once more to the sound of the zipper on our tent being slowly opened from outside. And then a long, hairy black arm reaches right into the tent. Reaching right in. Right over Vince's sleeping body. The gigantic hand just over his head. I reach for my Bowie knife and stab at the arm, right in the forearm, hoping to sever a vein or an artery. Blood squirts. A terrible, high-pitched scream emanates from outside. I pull the knife back out and the arm surrenders back into the dark of the night. thundering footsteps trail off. Alright, that's it. Do you think the others heard that? Vince didn't reply. I nudged him. Vince, are you there? His eyes were wide open, but he was in shock. He didn't know he couldn't move or speak or communicate or anything. Jesus. I opened the tent door and, to my amazement, the other tents were gone. There was no one there. There were no tents, no people, nothing. Everyone else was gone. What the hell is going on? I call out the names of the rest of our party, but there was no answer. I go outside and call for a better part of 10 to 15 minutes, but there's no answer. Snow is falling fairly hard. The wind swirls in circles. And no one answers. Then Vince calls for me to come back inside the tent. Now. I go back inside and say, Vince, there's nobody here. There's no one left. What the hell is going on? I think that thing might have something to do with that. You think so? I know so, he whispered. You think it will be back? I don't know. I fucked it up pretty good with my knife when I stabbed it. Let's hope so. Let's wait till morning, then we'll make our descent back down and notify the authorities of what's happening. We didn't sleep the rest of the night. We couldn't. Too on edge. The next morning came without even a pin dropping. It was a nice crisp morning, fresh snow on the ground. Began to make our descent back down. Highly alert. But then, we noticed something following us. It only moved when we moved. It was following us through the tree line. Slowly, it follows. Then, it lurches out onto the trail in front of us. A 9-foot monstrosity. Cross between a human and a great ape. A human and a gorilla. Incredibly muscular. Long, shaggy black hair, mixed with gray and white. Hardened by the terrible environment that it inhabits. It growls, showing its teeth. Its humanoid eyes staring right at us. Slobber and saliva coming from its jaws. Then, we hear something else in the distance. This incredible roar. The creature freezes. Looks beyond us. Then the aggressive expression turns into panic. fear. The animal darts back into the underbrush. Vince and I take the hint and we begin to run down the trail. We run and we run. Then suddenly we hear the roar again, almost. This time it's almost right behind us. Then we hear a scream right behind us. We turn around. The 9-foot creature is it's in the grasp of another monster, but this thing is just horrifying. 20 feet tall, black, long, lean, muscular, and athletic. Enormous fangs or tusks emerging from its bottom jaw. Yellow red eyes. Claws coming from its fingers. Its hand envelops the smaller monster's head, crushing the skull, ripping the head clean off. It then begins to rip the torso of the smaller creature apart, almost in half. And it begins to feast, staring at Vince and I as we watch. "Oh my God," I whisper. "Vince, what the fuck do you want to do, dude?" He shakes his head, totally unsure of what to make of the situation. "What in God's name is this thing?" I whisper. "I don't know, but I don't think we should run from it. That's not a good idea. That might trigger a predator response." "What are we gonna do? Just walk while it's eating?" "Yeah, that's probably the best route to go." We ease down the mountain, slowly, as the giant monster looks on, consuming its meal. Oh my God. Jesus, Steve, what the hell is that thing? I don't know. I've heard of giant Yetis and Bigfoot and Sasquatch and all that, but that thing looks like it's something else. Something so much larger and so much more disgusting and evil and predatory. God. We cross a stream, making our way down. In the tree line we see a piece of yellow cloth. We realize it's a piece of a tent, almost 12 feet up in the air. We look up through the trees and see mangled corpses, skeletons, and bones. Probably 20 or 30 of them, all mangled together. The rancid smell of rotting flesh filling the air. Jesus, I mutter. We felt like we were far enough out of sight and we take off running. As fast as we could, we take off running. About a minute or two later, we hear a roar in the distance, deep, loud, echoing through the valley. We hear another roar, this time closer. Jesus, Vince, what the hell is that? I scream. I don't give a fuck. Keep running, Steve. Just keep fucking running. Jesus. We run further and further and faster and faster. Then it's almost as though the footsteps are right behind us. We hear another roar, deafening, as though our eardrums are being ripped out of our skulls and exploding. Then we begin to hear the sound of gunshots, the screaming of men in another language. Nepalese special forces. They're shooting at this thing. Another roar. And the thing retreats. Yeah, the Nepalese were shooting 50 caliber rifles at this thing. One of the officers of the platoon, who spoke English, luckily enough, informed us of the situation and let us know that they've been hunting this thing for months, trying to keep it contained. It's a new animal. They don't know where it came from or what its intentions are. But they had no idea that there was something much larger and so much more vicious than a Yeti. Something that preyed upon humans and Yetis and anything that got in its way. There have been whispers and legends of giants that were horrifyingly cannibalistic. But no one had actually seen one and lived to tell the tale until now. We lived to tell the tale. And now, life will never be the same.